Every once in a while there's a new blockchain and it's worth paying attention to what they do different. In this case, I'm going to cover Berachain. There's not much information about Berachain and I'm going to show you what I could find online and what I understand are the differences. This chain is not launched yet, but there are already a couple of implementations you can look at. So this is basically the main website. The only place you can go is basically Discord, Twitter, but there's also a GitHub. We're going to have a look at that. And of course, careers if you want to help build the Berachain. So basically what they're trying to do is have proof of liquidity consensus where liquidity providers are also verifying blocks. This is one of the things. Another big thing is modularity and how big they are on modularity. So before jumping to the talk, because this is something which is super interesting, you can find on YouTube Modular Summit Day 2, but by the very end, the 8 hours 16 minutes, the link will be down below in the description. You can actually hear the dev bear here on stage talking about the Berachain and the whole Polaris EVM framework. So Polaris is basically what we're going to have a look at. It's on GitHub currently, and Polaris basically is an implementation by Berachain of EVM, so Ethereum virtual machine that allows for some additional modularity. So this is the framework. The Berachain, what they're trying to achieve, they have a great team, of course, of different bears coming from top companies like Salesforce, Apple, Chainlink, Messari, Google, and they're trying to build an EVM that's compatible also with Cosmos SDK. They actually building a layer on top of Cosmos, EVM, and you can see that they want to have app chains being EVM equivalent, meaning that every app can easily launch its own chain on top of Cosmos, and being EVM compatible doesn't depend on Cosmos so much. So this is the modularity first. This is the structure that they want to provide. So this is the new thing that they're building. This is the Polaris EVM here, and this EVM runtime layer, pretty much independent from Cosmos SDK, even though they also publish blocks to Cosmos SDK later on. So you can think about that as being, here's the graph. So they have the EVM block, and actually after acceptance, they actually post the block back to the Cosmos. This is the new structure, and they want to have the full modularity here with the Berachain. So Berachain itself is an infrastructure. I don't know whether they will have a token or not. Maybe they will have at one point, and if they have that, that's probably going to be pretty interesting. In the talk generally, he's talking about different technical aspects of publishing blocks with the Cosmos SDK. So if you're a dev or if you're interested in the blockchain architecture, this is something you might want to look at. Other than that, probably the only thing you have to take from this talk is that there are different modularity things, that the features that they implement, and in general it will make easier for different applications to build with Berachain, with Polaris, so that you have more tools for developers to build great applications, working faster, working with bigger scale, and being compatible across different chains as well. So they have their own base layer innovations as well. They have like FlashBera, they have Slinky and a bunch of other stuff as well that they want to add. So they probably will add different tools by themselves. So again, I don't know how much this will come into being an actual chain, Berachain. Will that be only infrastructure that you can use from GitHub? But it seems like they will be doing some kind of tests right now, so it's definitely worth checking out. This was the talk at Modular Summit Paris just a couple of days ago. Now, if you jump into GitHub, you'll be able to see Berachain Polaris. This is the modular implementation of the Ethereum virtual machine that you can see here. And basically you can go through what they're building right now. So this is the repo. Basically, they introduced this framework for simplifying EVM into an application, and they want to make it as simple as possible. So the big things and the core pillars that they're building upon is, first of all, modularity. Each component is developed as a distinct package, complete with thorough testing, documentation, benchmarking, configurability. You can actually configure everything to your own needs. Performance, this is for scaling, of course. That's why also there's Cosmos in it. And they open to contributors and, of course, memes, which is very, very important. As you can judged by the dev bear himself. So here's a short instruction on what you can do to actually start using that. There's already something being done. I don't know how well that's running, but currently there's a bunch of forks, a bunch of people already using that. So we're probably going to see some implementation of Polaris pretty soon. And I think Berachain team themselves are trying to test whatever they're building. So this is really interesting because, again, new kind of consensus are always a great idea. Modularity is really big in crypto because this is like a fundamental issue. You want to connect different blockchains together, different applications together for the easiness of use, because from the perspective of the final user of crypto, he or she doesn't care about what kind of implementation you have. It has to be simple, it has to be fast, and it has to be super easy to use. So this is the kind of the problem that Berachain is solving, as far as I understand, making everything simple and fast. So really cool stuff. I'm definitely going to follow them. So if you want to have more news on Berachain, subscribe to my channel and see you in the next video.